up my Atari?
My television?
How about for this?
You bet your asteroid.
Presenting the revolutionary Vectrex arcade system. Discover how Vectrex brings real arcade play home.
Vectrex. Fantastic.
Ordinary home video games can't match the laser-sharp visual effects of Vectrex.
Vectrex. Well, welcome everyone to Vectrex Radio. Vectrex on your dial. This is episode 11. We'll be talking about Space Wars and the homebrew game VecMan. Here's Mr. Reynolds.
Yes, hello. Glad to be doing another episode there, Willie.
Oh, yeah. You know me, Willie, that guy. That guy. Well, I think it's been, a year?
At least, I think.
Year and a half since episode 10. I don't remember when we recorded episode 10, to tell you the truth.
We're an occasional podcast, is what this turned into.
Well, you know, we're changing the format up as well. Instead of doing two games at a time, we're just going to do one original release Vectrex game so we can spend a little bit more time on it. And then I figure we'll feature a homebrew game in the second half of the show. So I thought that'd be kind of a fun thing to do. So, before we get started, have you picked up anything new for your Vectrex since the last time we recorded?
Seems like maybe. I don't remember when I picked up. Oh goodness, the Vectrex version of Moon Patrol, Vec Patrol. Is that what they call it? Or Vector Patrol, maybe.
Oh yeah, Vector Patrol. That's an awesome game.
Yeah, so I got that one. And then, this is one of those things where I saw that they were putting out a game, and I think it was still in development. They were taking pre-orders. And so I said, yeah, that looks great. And I sent the PayPal, whatever, and then, completely forgot about it.
That's the best kind.
Yeah, right.
It's like Christmas.
So that game arrived. I'm like, what is this? And I opened it up, and it was Outlaw for the Vectrex.
Frontier? So what's it called? I didn't think it was called Outlaw.
Am I? Okay, now. Hold on, I was almost certain it was called Outlaw. Maybe it is Frontier.
Oh, we're so bad.
It's Frontier. Why did I say? Oh God,
I don't know. Because it maybe plays like Outlaw, maybe.
I guess. Talk about really losing my brain there a little bit. No, Frontier. That's definitely the game. I'm looking at a picture of it now.
Awesome.
So yeah, that came as a surprise, and I pulled it. And I'm like, all right, because I actually don't have all that many. Original in the box Vectrex. I'm not like a Vectrex collector per se. I have the system and I can play the games with a multi-cart. So it was kind of cool opening that box up and got an overlay for it and all that good stuff. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I've only got one homebrew game here in the box complete. I've not really bought a lot of homebrew for my Vectrex. Like you, I use a multi-cart. So I kind of like buying ROMs instead. But that's kind of hard to come by. But the one game I purchased since the last time we recorded was the twofer cartridge that has Death Chase on it, the arcade game Death Chase.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other program on there, it's called Nox, which is like a super sprint game.
Oh.
And it came with two overlays, one for Death Chase, which is really awesome. It's got little skulls on there and stuff. That's a really fun Vectrex game.
Yeah, okay.
And Nox came with its own little overlay, too, which is pretty cool. This was done by Binary Star Software. Chris Binary Star. He's very active in the Vectrex software.
Cool.
Pretty awesome. You're like, I don't care about your freaking game.
That is not true at all, Willie.
yeah, you got Death Chase. Well, I got Frontier. Oh, so there.
So there, indeed. So Death Chase is, I assume, similar to. It's a port of Death. What is it? Is it called
Death Race?
2000? Death Race, right? Yeah. Yes, that's cool. I have that one on the Odyssey too. I did not end up getting on the Vectrex.
I've got that one too on the Odyssey too. I just can't help myself. I just like run over digital pixels.
Yeah, it's
in this case, vectors.
That's true. No pixels, are there?
No. Well, I've been looking around on the old internet, and I came across a really cool emulator for the Vectrex. I'm really impressed with this emulator. It's really good. It's called Vectrex Online. It was done by Mr. Ralph Kornman, and right now it's at version 0.2.6.0, I believe. I think that's correct. It does run under Windows 10. It supports DirectX 11, and it emulates Vectrex games really well. You can actually set the ambient light, the reflection off the screen. You can put wear on the overlay. You can easily import an overlay to put over the Vectrex screen, which I did for a video, and I can't say enough about this emulator. It's absolutely incredible. Of course, Ralph, he contacted me. He goes, well, instead of trying to open up the ROM files and stuff and load them in, you just drag and drop them on the screen. I didn't know that, and it does work a lot better doing that. So, Ralph, if you're listening, thanks for the tip, man. I really appreciate it. I was just too darn excited. I had to show this emulator.
Yeah, I saw you posted a video about it. That's or at least a post about it, maybe on Facebook. I can't remember where I saw it, but yeah, I obviously didn't get to try it. I don't have a Windows machine. I have a Mac and some Linux machines here.
Oh, la-ti-da.
Yeah. But no, I mean, Vectrex. I don't think Vectrex has a huge history of like lots of different emulators for it, right? It's kind of an obscure one in terms of different emulation system. I know you can get it. There's an emulator available on the Pi systems, but I have not dug into that too much yet.
Well, I've got I forgot what the name of the app is on my iPad. It has a bunch of Vectrex games on it.
Yes.
It was an official one. And
I got that one too.
I have one of those Bluetooth controllers, the iCade 8-bitty controller.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That I link up to my iPad to play games and stuff. It works really well. But aside from that, this one on Windows, this Vectrex Online, if you don't have a Vectrex system and you like to experience what it's like to have a Vectrex, I would highly recommend trying the simulator out. It's pretty cool.
Well, neat.
Neato. Let's see, what else? Oh, I was contacted by Lawrence. I'm not going to say his last name because I want to... No, I guess I could. Yeah, I guess I could. Lawrence Binion, who has a YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the show notes to his YouTube channel. But what he makes are UV overlays for the Vectrex. Now, you put this in conjunction with this really cool device made by Clockwork Robot that has like these UV LEDs around this frame. It'll make that UV overlay glow over the front of the Vectrex screen. I watched some of the videos he had on his channel showing demonstrations, and holy cow, it's pretty impressive. It looks really awesome.
I have not heard about that. I'll definitely be checking that out when you put the links.
Yeah. Well, you got to have the overlay piece from Clockwork Robot. He makes them per order, so you have to order it. It comes from England. I think it's like 30 pounds plus shipping or something like that. I also on that Clockwork Robot Facebook page, website, I did not realize this. I totally missed this game. I didn't realize it was even released. Stromish Zone, which is Battle Zone.
Oh.
For the Vectrex with an overlay and stuff. I totally missed out on that. I don't know how I missed this game, but now I'm going nuts trying to see if I can get one now because I love Battle Zone and would love to try it on the Vectrex.
Oh, yeah, right. It's another Vector game that I'm sure would look amazing on the Vectrex.
Oh, yeah. So that's the bad thing. If you don't keep up to date on what's going on, you can miss out on some of these things, and a lot of times you can't get them once they go out of print, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, a lot of this homebrew is small batch kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. So did you find anything interesting concerning the Vectrex since the last time we recorded?
No, I think I've been kind of out of the Vectrex community of sorts. Just kind of been concentrating on other stuff. Got a couple of new games. Been playing those around a little bit. I got the Vectrex out. I can't remember which holiday I got it out, and then did a little bit of playing on the usual suspects that I like to play, which will actually it comes into some of the conversation we're gonna have later. But yeah, I certainly missed out on the stuff you're talking about there, and I don't think I have any new hardware or anything like that to talk about.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I guess we're going to talk about Space Wars then. We'll start off with the arcade game Space Wars. Well, actually, we need to go back farther than that. to 1962 on Space War by Steve Russell in collaboration with Martin Grates and Wayne Whitman and Bob Saunders and Steve Piner. They made a video game on a PDP-1 mainframe computer with a little vector display. And I've been watching some videos and some little documentary stuff on YouTube about this. It is amazing what those guys did with that 1 kilobyte memory on that crazy PDP-1.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to see. I found an online emulator where you could try the original Space War on a simulated PDP-1 screen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really slow.
That's not too surprising.
I tried to make a video of me and my wife playing the original one from 1962. We didn't get very far. She got frustrated because it's too dang slow. So we had to move up to the one that was done by Cinematronics in 1977. That was done by Larry, what's that guy's name? Rosenthal? I always pronounce the names wrong. I feel so bad if I do that. But yeah, Larry Rosenthal, who graduated from MIT, he was really fascinated with the original Space War game, so he designed his own custom hardware and software to play a version of the game. It has a lot of extra elements added to it than the original Space War. You know, for one, it has a little option keypad in the middle of the control panel where you select what game you want to play. Like fast ships, slow ships, fast missiles, strong gravity, reverse gravity, all that kind of stuff, which was kind of cool for when the game came out back in 1977, because I don't think any other game really did that, allow you to punch in different numbers to select game variations for the game itself. The only downfall about the arcade version of Space War is it does require 2 people to play. So if you go to the arcade by yourself, it's going to be very lonely trying to play a game of Space War.
Yeah.
Now, have you tried the original Space War in the arcade, the 77 one?
I'm pretty sure I've not, no.
Never?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I had a DOS game that I think was called Space War. If not, it was called something, very generically the same. It played like this game. Instead of having like a spiky star thing in the middle, it had a planet, and it had gravity.
Oh.
And you had to like get in, or you actually could get in orbit around the planet as you were fighting each other.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool. But it had the same kind of mechanics as Space War. And I'm kind of thinking it was called Space War. Now, at the time, I didn't know that was a previous game. I just thought somebody made a game and called it Space War because you're out in space and you're in a war. But you're playing here on the Vectrex, and to my shame, I have to admit, this is the first time I've played this game. I did not know on the Vectrex. I did not know this was a thing. I know, surprising.
Surprise! Oh
yeah, I mean, I think that I tend to like gravitate towards unique games on different systems as well. Since I didn't know this was a port of Space War, a thing that was has such history. If you think about just the name of it, it's a space war. It's like, okay, I've played a lot of space shooters. I don't think I need to play another one. I'd go on and play something else on the Vectrex, But now that I know what it is, and I'm like, oh yeah, I played this. But I'm thinking of a DOS game that we played that was very similar. But I'm pretty sure I never played the original, like on MAME or anything like that.
Well, I first played Space War, the arcade game, at the Aladdin's Castle in Indianapolis, Indiana. My brother took me over. We went to go see a movie. I don't remember what movie we saw. And we went to the arcade, and they had that set up there. And we spent quite a bit of time playing that game. It's a lot of fun, trying all the different options and everything. I fell in love with the game. One of the things I did notice, if you watch the arcade game, is it looks like you got the Starship Enterprise fighting a asteroid ship.
Yeah.
And then on the original one in 1962, again, it looks like the Enterprise, but it has like a rocket for the other character, kind of like a Buck Rogers kind of thing. Thought it was kind of interesting. So this was ported over to the Vectrex. It was one of the original 12 games that was released with the Vectrex system. And they did a really good job porting this game over. It does have some quirks, especially when you're trying to use the gravity. Sometimes the gravity doesn't work like you expect it to do, and sometimes you'll see that meteor kind of shoot off in a different direction for some unknown reason why. I don't know why. But it has all the different options as well that you can play. You can have, you got the beginner level with no sun gravity. Your ship and laser speed are slow. Then you go to moderate and fast. Then you have the expert mode. We have moderate gravity and negative gravity, strong gravity. And I find if I play mode number 7 with fast ships and strong sun gravity, I can pretty much beat the computer almost 90% of the time.
Wow.
Playing that game. If I play a slow game or play with no gravity, it just wipes the star field with me.
Yeah. That was my experience. I confess I should have read the manual. Should have looked up the manual on this and read about those different modes. I didn't know about that. I just got it in and started the game, and I was always playing with no gravity, and that computer ship was just zipping around and just blasting at me. I mean, he handed my rear to me like every game. Yeah, I think I had a game that was almost close. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But I was really getting beat up. So yeah, now that you're saying that, I definitely want to try this again with gravity and try that out, because it'll probably remind me of the DOS game I played before.
It probably will. But it was really nice that they included a one-player version on this cartridge. You can play 2 players if you got a second control pad, but at least you could play 1 player and enjoy the game, which I thought was pretty nice. The controls are pretty straightforward. Use your joystick to rotate your ship right and left. Button 2 is your hyperspace. It's got a cool hyperspace effect I really like. You got your thrust button, which is button 3, and of course your fire button is button 4. You only have a certain amount of shots, so you're going to be very frugal and let's not go button mashing crazy to shoot the other guy. Because you run out of shots, you're basically a sit and duck. And you have limited fuel. I found you could run out of fuel, which I didn't realize. So,
yeah, that same thing happened to me. I didn't realize. It turns out me and the computer opponent both ran out of fuel in one of the games.
Oh yeah, that happened to me when I made my video, and we were too far away to shoot each other. She just sat there. There was no gravity.
Right. That was my game too. And I didn't realize. I don't think until that time I realized that those numbers that were flashing on the screen were indicating a fuel. Right, so I played 2 or 3 games before I ran out of fuel once, and I was like, what happened? And then I started putting it together. I'm like, oh, and then in one of my rounds with it, I was able to kind of avoid him by just kind of doing avoid the AI by just doing little spurts around, and he ran out of fuel and was just sitting there. And I was able to sneak right up on him and blow him away because I saved my fuel in shots. But I couldn't do that very often though, because he's moving again on that first level where there's no gravity. He is zipping around that screen. It's really hard to avoid him.
Well, what do you think of the effect if you get hit, a piece of your ship breaks off and you slow down?
Yeah, and I think you as you thrust forward, you kind of hit it kind of turns you a little bit. Like it's like a rowboat with one oar in the water or something. Kind of off on a little bit of a slant. That was really cool.
And I like that they included the meteor from the arcade game on this as well. That adds a little bit of challenge to the game, especially when you're zipping around. That meteor makes its appearance on the screen because you can't destroy it, but it can destroy you very easily.
Yeah. I found as I was because it is fast. Like you can really zip around. Again, I played the version of the gravity, so you got to be a little more careful, I would guess, when there's gravity pulling you to the middle. Yeah. But I found that I was able to swing around the meteor piece, and when I would do that, it seemed like the computer would kind of lose track of me for a minute, for a couple seconds like that. So it was like, all right, well, at least he wasn't rapid firing at me anymore. Like he at least knew not to shoot through the meteor or something. So it was like, all right, this isn't too bad. Yeah,
just hide behind the meteor. There we go.
Right.
Now the game came with an overlay that says Space Force at the bottom. Has a red border, has a light blue tint to it like the Mindstorm overlay, and it adds a little bit of dimension to the game by making the sun red in the middle and everything, which is okay. I tend to play the game without the overlay because I don't have an overlay for it.
Right. Yeah. If you're on hardware, it's pretty much what you're going to do.
Yep. It's pretty much all you can do. Now, one of the quirky things I found with the game concerns the gravity effect. I noticed that the shots don't appear to be affected by gravity like they are in the arcade game.
Oh, okay.
Because in the arcade game, you can actually shoot towards the sun to get your shot to arc around to try to get your opponent. You know, it's a cool strategy to do. And I noticed they do that on there. And I also noticed that the gravity doesn't seem to be consistent. There was times I could stop my ship right next to the sun, and it didn't get sucked in. I just sat there. And when I go to thrust, you can see it start to move towards the sun every time I thrust. If I stop, that's it. It wouldn't go anymore. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I don't know if it was just my game that was doing it, or because I'm playing off a multi-cart, so I'm not playing off an actual cart, so I don't know if that ROM has been messed with or whatever.
Yeah, you reminded me of the shots of being affected by the gravity. That was the case in that DOS game I referred to earlier. And because I remember consistently, like you would shoot, you had limited shots that could be on the screen at a time. So you'd shoot like a rocket or two, and it would start orbiting around the planet, and you're trying to stay out of the way of the thing as you're orbiting around the planet. And you have a couple of different these things going in opposite directions. It was pretty wild.
Well, that's awesome, man. Now, there is a really great article. I found this online article from Paleotronic Magazine. I believe it's a magazine from Australia. And there's a clip of this article that was written about Space War. It's called From the Computer Lab to the Arcade, The Journey of Space War. I'll put a link in the show notes to the article. It's a really fascinating read. It goes through the whole history of Space War and how it got translated to the arcade.
Cool.
You know, also, in my running around on the interwebs, I learned that there was a Space War tournament in 2017 out in Seattle, and I found an article on GeekWire that talked all about it. It was celebrating the 45 years for the first ever video game, which was Space War, and they had a tournament out there, and they featured a Vectrex as part of the tournament.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting. I'll put a link to that as well, so people can read about that. Now, before we start talking about our homebrew feature, we're going to listen to a little piece of music from Chris Binary Star from his Y Music Cart that you can get for the Vectrex. This is called Mega Apocalypse. This was the music that was ripped from the Amstrad CPP version of Mega Apocalypse by Rob Hubbard. It's a multi-directional shooter. I looked at some video on it. It does look pretty cool. It kind of reminds me a lot of Mad Planets, is what it reminds me of. So, let's listen to the music. So now, for our homebrew highlight, we're going to be talking about VecMan. This game was done back in 2019 by Professor Pierre Johansson. I think I pronounced it right this time. I pronounced it wrong in my video. I apologize for that. I have a hard time talking the way it is. Basically what this game is, it's a very minimalistic Pac-Man game. It features some music from like the Pac-Man cartoon in there. But the mazes, they kind of change. They get bigger and they get smaller. You don't have dots all around the screen. You have certain dots you have to eat to complete the level. And as the levels increase, the dots can actually start moving around, kind of like Casey Munchkin for the Odyssey 2, which, you know, I love Casey Munchkin, so I was overjoyed when I saw that occur. And there's also, when you get to the higher levels, there's like little power-ups that appear as well that'll cause things to happen on the screen when you actually eat them, besides the power pellets. And I absolutely love how the ghosts come flying up into the screen as you eat them. That is a great effect. And I guess this was originally done by Mr. Johansson as a educational practice for students that was taking his course. And the game just kind of blossomed from there. They're actually thinking about releasing it on a cartridge in 2020 this year, which I think it's well worth putting on a cartridge with an overlay in a box. It's actually that much fun. I did learn there's a reason why there's no points for this game. It's all about how far you can get in the levels themselves. I didn't realize that when I made my videos. That makes total sense to me. You're trying to see how high you get. I guess it goes up into the hundreds for the levels.
Yeah.
I never got that far, let me tell you. I was lucky to get to it.
I didn't get to 100, but I felt like I got into it a pretty good ways. It was awesome. This game is a great game.
Oh yeah.
I noticed, when I was looking at it, it's like a combination of Pac-Man, Casey Munchkin, and some influences from the Atari 2600 card Dodge 'em, which is like Sega Head-On, right?
Yes.
The mazes are very much like squared off and in lanes. Like Dodge 'em, or I always thought of Dodge 'em. I never played Head-On, so in the arcade, but Dodge 'em supported Head-On basically. So that's an interesting combination of by the way, all three games I really enjoy those. So you put those together, I'm in there. That's great stuff. The sizes of the maze will change from level to level. Like if you think of the size of the maze as being, like think about Dodge 'em having like maybe 3 lanes or 4 lanes, and it's a square. Well, the next maze you get might only be 3 lanes wide. The next one might be 5 or 6 lanes wide, and so the maze size keeps changing. And then some of the mazes will be completely populated with dots, and others will just have a scatter shot, like more like Casey Munchkin does. Sometimes the dots move, sometimes the energizers move, sometimes they both move. And you talk about those power ups. Some of the power ups are eat a power up and it starts the dots moving. Prior to that, they weren't moving, or hit a power up and it stops them from moving. And I know I ran into a couple of those. I saw one of the power ups came up and it was a little Pac-Man face that I think was an extra life. Just by just there in the maze, and I don't know if you caught this because I didn't know anything about this game until you sent it to me, Willie, and said, "Hey, let's talk about this. Let's play this." I was playing this today. I didn't want to stop playing it.
It's good, isn't it?
It's a great game. But I was trying to figure out what's going on with my lives, right? I was trying it doesn't show you, like 3 lives and you gain another one every 10,000 points because there's no points. It's not like that, right?
No.
So playing it, I think I figured it out. And maybe it's in the thread where the guy's explaining as he's making updates to the game or whatnot. But my understanding of what's going on is you get these 2 numbers when it starts. They say 1/1. And it's kind of like life hearts or whatever, like in Zelda or something. Mm-hmm. You have a certain number of extra lives you can have, and then you populate that many of extra lives. And the way you do that is by eating all the monsters on the screen at the same time. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you manage to kill all the monsters, whether it's from one Energizer or multiple, but like if you get to a state where there are no monsters on the screen because you ate them all, it'll award you a life. And you either get a life or you get a new life container of sorts, right? So when you start, you're at 1-1, which means you have the capacity to hold one extra life, and you've got one. Well, the first time you'll do that, you'll get a 1-2. Now you have a capacity to store 2 extra lives. You've still got 1. So when you do it a third time, it'll go to 2-2.
Oh, I was seeing that.
Yeah, and it works its way up. So like if you're at 2-2 and you lose a life, now you're at 1-2.
Oh.
And if you then eat them again, it'll go back up to 2-2. But if you manage to do it while you're 2-2, it'll go 2-3. And now you can keep and maintain 3 lives.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a really cool mechanic. It took me a little while to figure out what was going on, but I'm like, oh, I really like this. Because like, it's not like, well, like Pac-Man was one of those games that gave you 1 extra life, period. You hit a score and you get 1. But, other games are like every 20,000 points or something like that. This is kind of like you got to earn back. You got to fill your capacity up before you're allowed to earn more capacity. I don't know, it's an interesting mechanic to the lives that really grabbed my attention. That's really inventive, really cool.
Did you get to the mazes that had like 6 ghosts in them?
I never got to 6. No.
I started at a higher level just so I could try it out. It doesn't work well.
Okay, is that right? Is it slow? I mean, they wiped up.
They kill me really quick.
Okay, that's what you meant.
They kill me so fast with 6 ghosts. Of course, if you do that, if you skip levels, it won't save the high score.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah.
So you got to start at level 1 in order for it to register a high score. The highest I got was to level 8.
Oh, I got you beat pretty good, Willie.
Oh boy!
I got to level 21.
Holy cow!
Yeah,
dang.
I love this game. Now, to be fair, I love Pac-Man games.
I've been playing
Pac-Man games for a long, long time. But honestly, if this thing comes out as a full-blown game, and honestly, this ROM is good enough, this is going to be my favorite game on the system. Up to now, I would have kind of balanced between, say, Cosmic Chasm, and maybe Clean Sweep, which is the other Pac-Man-ish kind of game.
Yep.
Because I play Clean Sweep every time I pull the machine out, just because I love Pac-Man games. Well, this is going to be the thing I play. This is amazing. I love that. I just love this game.
Well, it's got such variety and everything. It's different.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
not the same old Pac-Man.
And you mentioned the tunes. It plays the tune from the cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it also plays the startup tunes from both Pac-Man and Ms. Pac-Man.
Yes.
Which is really cool, right? I was like, man, this is really just kind of pulling from all these different places. And you mentioned the effect when you eat a monster, and it's a similar effect when you get killed by a monster, where it kind of blows up and zooms out of the maze and kind of towards you, if you will.
Yep.
And of course, that's what the Vectrex is really good at, right? This kind of scaling up and down kinds of effects, because it's just they're vector lines. That's really hard to accomplish on a raster display, but super easy on a Vectrex kind of display, or vector displays. So it's cool to see that being taken advantage of in this game. Really makes it shine. Really makes it pop.
Yes, it does. I'll put a link in the show notes where you can get the ROM. It's freely downloadable, so if you got a multi-cart, you can play it on your Vectrex. If you want to try that emulator I was talking about, you can play it on your PC.
Yeah, one other note I wanted to make about this, Willie, was before we got recording, I asked you if you had any kind of digital controller adapter, for your Vectrex.
Right,
and,
I don't.
Yeah,
yes.
And I don't either, but I'm getting one. I like that because I have built for myself an arcade stick that has the same plug and presents itself as either a Sega controller or an Atari controller.
Oh, really?
By throwing some switches, I can make it either kind. Well, there's a Sega to Vectrex converter out there. I'm buying that, and I'm going to be playing VecMan with my arcade stick. It's going to be awesome.
Okay, I need to get one too. We have to have a VecMan off.
All right, yeah.
Maybe we can get that. Maybe we can do that before we record next time or something.
Okay, yeah. I put it in my. I actually just today. I mean, again, after playing this game, there's a guy selling them on eBay, and I'm like, all right, just yes. That was an insta buy for me after playing this game.
Yep, I'm buying it.
Yep.
Yeah, this game is that good. I mean, I can't say enough about it. When I first started playing it, I became hooked. I played the game a good 45 minutes.
Yeah. I probably put an hour and a half in on it today just because I didn't want to stop playing it. To be quite frank, Willie, I played VecMan first, and I had to remind myself, you got to quit playing this and play Space Wars a little bit. So you can talk about it for the show. It was just that enthralling for me.
Awesome. Well, next time we're going to be talking about the game Solar Quest. We haven't picked the homebrew game yet, so we'll spring that on everybody when we announce when the new episode's going to be recorded. So until that next time, everyone, thanks for listening to Vectrex Radio, VecX on your dial.
Give up my Atari? My television?
How about for this?
You bet your asteroids.
Presenting the revolutionary Vectrex arcade system. Discover how Vectrex brings real arcade play home.
Fantastic.
Ordinary home video games can't match the laser-sharp visual effects of Vectrex.
VecMan.